And here we are live in another Tuesdays for Facilitation. The good thing
hmm
about this intro video is that you cannot like smile at it. It's like, welcome, we're starting. So
It's a
here we
good icebreaker or ice warmer.
are, exactly, especially on this winter, right? So
Yeah,
here we are
especially
once
that.
again on a Tuesdays for Facilitation. We are traveling back to Europe. Now we're talking with Vivian, who's talking
Mhm.
to us from the Netherlands. Good morning, Vivian.
Good morning, Ty. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Doing better now. A little bit warmer than you since I'm in Portugal. So
Mm.
a little
Don't
bit
rub it in. Don't rub it in. We are already starting on the wrong foot. That's not good.
better. All right, Vivian. Thank you very much for being here with us today. So everyone
hmm
that arrives at Tuesday for facilitation has to answer one question. It
Yeah.
is, Vivian, how do you show up
Mhm.
when you facilitate?
I show up being my full self. So, first of all, I make sure in the morning I decompress by sitting in an infrared sauna. I have the luxury to invest in a sauna at home. And I show up by being my bubbly self, but also before I start the engagement, it's important for me to know where are people from, who is in the room, and do some research on LinkedIn so that I know which people I have a few assumptions. Which people do I need to work a little bit harder? Who do I need to convince? And sometimes I'm right, but also sometimes I'm wrong. And I'm so happy in those moments where I get it wrong that I also am challenged with my own assumptions as well. So I show up me, I show up fun, I show up with passing on the energy that I have. So that's why I need the decompression in the morning so that I align people with the mood that I have, depending, of course, on the topic.
And you show up very colorful.
Yes,
We
definitely.
even if it's cold, even if it's the winter.
Oh, no, no, no. I mean, I
Yes,
won't let the winter stop me from shining. That's it.
that is certainly a standout. So when we met and we started talking about it, when we talk about diversity and inclusion,
Mhm,
we are talking about something very territorial, right? So we're talking
mhm.
about places that
Yeah.
see this as something different.
Mhm.
Diversity in Brazil, for example, means something completely different than
Yeah.
diversity in Ghana or diversity in the Netherlands, which is
Yeah.
something else. So understanding that it's relational, but it's
Mhm.
fundamental because we are all different in our
Yeah.
essence. We are all different according to our different repertories, to where we were raised, how did we grow up, how was our
Mhm.
education. Um, in the Northern Europe, and this is a very curious of me, like in the Northern Europe countries, they're known to see gender equity as something that they have reached, right? In
Mhm.
theory, in theory. I'm not
Well,
going to the
reached reached given last 2 days, what was it? Sunday was International Women's Day. We are far away from being
from
reached. It
from
was at
from
least 123 days for women to reach that gender equity that people think that we have reached, but we are not close to even reaching that.
and it's something interesting because it ends up sending the wrong information, and women do know that because we feel that on our skin, especially
Yeah.
when we're talking about just gender, right? So now we put
Yeah.
other layers to it, which is
Yeah.
race, which is nationality,
hmm
which is
Yeah.
language and
Yeah.
religion, and all of the other nuances that you can bring
Yeah.
to it. How exactly did you see yourself going through this career path?
I mean, this career path wasn't a linear thing. I decided to do what I do now. It had to do with me facing maternal wall bias. And the maternal wall bias is also another way for me facing pregnancy discrimination. So I disclosed my pregnancy at a very early stage, 8 weeks pregnant, first time. And I was seeking for empathy or the minimum sympathy, but what I got was retaliation. What I got was gaslighting and bullying as well. And it did a number on my well being. Whereas my midwife shared with me that you have two options. Either you continue the way you do, but it will impact you and your unborn child, or you go on maternity leave. Luckily, I live in the Netherlands where they facilitated early maternity leave, so I did that. And when my child was born, I realized how lucky we were, because I've also heard different stories of parents losing their child because of people not understanding that they are becoming parents. So for me, I wanted to be able to speak up and do something about it. And my child literally ignited my passion for advocating for inclusion. So that's what I'm doing right now.
It's very interesting, in Brazil, even though half of the population is Black,
Mm,
there is such a thing as racism in the industrial field,
yeah,
especially for women. So a lot of women, or
yeah.
what you're sharing. So it's very interesting because we're talking about the Netherlands, which is, the northern part of Europe. It's so developed. This is not
Mhm.
my how the world sees it, right? And
Mhm.
facing similar problems that we have in Brazil. In Brazil, we have a lot of problems also with medical violence against Black women.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
none. It's like it's
Yeah.
researched. We are very far away with researches on how how racism has been impacting our life
It's
through the
also
last.
present in Europe and also in the Netherlands as well. Like sharing, expecting that people of color have a higher pain tolerance. No, we don't.
Yes, it's exactly
No,
the
we don't.
same. The same.
No, we don't. Yeah.
It's exactly the same argument. It's so. I mean,
Mhm.
when you come to see it, it's so horrible that the same eugenic and the same thoughts of they've been shared around the world. So
Mhm.
we're facing the same problems, even though our
Yeah.
economies are completely different, our culture is completely different,
Yeah.
our people are completely different, but we are facing the same structural racism here and there, right?
Mhm.
So, what are some struggles or misunderstandings that you find,
Mhm.
or things that you hear around here in Europe when we talk about inclusion?
The misunderstanding is that inclusion is only for the few, so for those who are part of minority group, but inclusion is it involves everybody, even those who are against it, because we need those people to be part of the inclusion. And the misunderstanding is also sometimes when people do a training related to inclusion or collaboration, put it in general, they assume that they have trained their muscle, but I always tell people, like, when you go to the gym and want to work on your health, right? Everybody has this January goal where we want to live better, we want to be healthier as well. It doesn't start with only just a one-time visit. It starts with being consistent and training, so providing tools, mechanism, toolkits, frequent facilitation. And frequent, I mean with frequent, maybe once every 2 months or once per quarter, where you provide access for you and your team to do better when it comes to inclusion, to do better when it comes to effective collaboration. It doesn't happen with just a one night stand session where I come in for just 2 hours and then everybody continues with their way of working. It doesn't help that way. So when you go to the gym, until I've seen a gym where everything magically changes for you in one session, we have to be consistent and go to our inclusion gym as well when it comes to that.
This is very interesting because it's certainly when you have someone that comes and talks to you for your company for 2 hours,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
you're having inclusion as a checklist, like
Definitely.
a bullet
Yeah.
point there on your checklist
Yeah.
with HR. Nothing against HR people. I always say this. I even
Yeah.
have some friends who are, but
Mhm.
when
I mean,
HR comes,
HR has a lot of positive, but it also have the negative connotation. So
they're
I'm in the middle of being supportive for HR, but I also I have personal experience and also experiences from other people that HR is for the business, not for the people. It's there to support the
yes.
business in their strategies as well.
I like that saying actually. I like that. It
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense. It is for the business. They're kind of guardians of the business in a
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah.
Um, and it becomes like this list where they have to check, oh, we have to
Hmm.
hire five diverse people, and then they put
Yeah.
diverse
Yeah.
in the same box. I have a really good friend
Hmm.
in Brazil, Thierry, and he every now and then he hears it. And Thierry says that when we plan the places to be inclusive, they are
Hmm.
inclusive for everyone, not only for the
Yeah.
people who can see, not only for the people who
Yeah.
can hear. And it makes it so good that it doesn't look like it was planned that way, because at the core
True.
of it, it was planned to make sure that everyone with their with their different abilities, because
Hmm.
we're not talking about discapacities, we're talking about different
Hmm.
abilities,
Exactly.
to be
Exactly.
maximized in that sense. So the different abilities
Exactly.
can find themselves, comfort and shelter in a sense, to be able to awesome. I love it. Took me a little while to, but it's interesting because then we're talking about something that I speak a lot about, experience design,
Hmm.
where you have
Yeah.
to design sessions
Yeah.
that don't only um you said about one night stand. I like to
Hmm.
say that it's like they're not monogamous on their head. So you're not only faithful to your head,
Yeah.
you can actually use your body, you can use sounds, you can use smells. And this reminds
Hmm.
me of something that we didn't talk before, but I'd like to bring this up. So for a while, I like the metaphors that you used about muscle, and it's related to health, which reminds me that you had a cooking show. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, yes. I had a cooking talk show called Cooking Back to Our Roots. It was to honor my grandmother who unfortunately died from diabetes type 2. I wanted to educate people about eating healthier within the African diaspora without losing our identity, because the moment that you diminish many of the elements what makes our food part of our identity, it doesn't become part of identity as well. So food is a bridge builder. It's one of the things that I'm one of the metaphors that I use, either marinating or barbecue or explaining diversity, equity, inclusion through the carrot cake analogy as well. It's a way for people to digest what is complex, to make it more bite-sized so that they can let it marinate and understand where it lands and how they can create their own recipe for inclusion, recipe for collaboration as well.
Which is completely related with the whole training the muscle, because
Yeah,
if we're talking about recipe, we're talking about
yeah.
uniting different flavors, different
Hmm.
spices. Sometimes they
Exactly.
turn out great, sometimes they don't, but you do have to experiment unless you're not
Exactly.
being tested.
You tweak, and also make sure that you create a space where people are psychological safe, but also have the courage to address what needs to be addressed, right? So having a space for courageous conversations where people address the things that they feel or that they experience in the undercurrent, because if you leave things um, too long in the undercurrent, it becomes a monster on its own, and that can hinder collaboration, that can hinder people feeling psychological safe as well.
I find it very interesting. It's a very strong form of activism, because we
Mhm,
are having Black people around the globe are having
mhm,
trouble with health issues,
mhm.
because whatever
Yeah,
is left, and we are uneducated to not
yeah.
eat healthy, when our ancestors were like the healthiest ever.
They were
Uh,
healthier, but we need to find ways to connect back to our roots, and also food is our identity. So we don't want to erase our identity, but there are ways to make it a little bit healthier so that it is still tasty and also healthier for our body and minds as well.
it's like our stomach has
Mhm.
a lot of we feel through our stomach, right? So
Yeah,
mostly
yeah.
when we say, "Oh, my heart, I'm feeling it in my heart," it's probably your stomach, not your heart,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
and it's interesting that you can actually activate a group before
Mm-hmm.
thinking with their heads to start thinking
Oh,
with their
definitely.
mouths, right? Yeah, well, you
Hmm.
thinking with their um uh, their memories of food, because
Hmm.
food also brings us memories. When we're
Yeah,
talking about our grandma's food or our
yeah.
grandpa's food, when I
Hmm.
went to our family's parties, and then I would smell something that's being cooked, really
Exactly,
feeling home.
exactly,
For example, it's the
exactly.
garlic and the onions. We eat a lot of garlic and onions. It's the base of all of
Hmm.
our food.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we do remember a lot of things, and that does comes down, like, the people to be able to actually relate better with each other.
It taps into their intrinsic motivation. When you have positive memories about the recipes or the ingredients that I share, it makes it easier for me, but also for you to embrace the topic that I have to share. Because sometimes the topics can be easy when it comes to collaboration, but also when it comes to topics related to conflict. People already come in with their armors already ready to fight a war. And I'm, as a facilitator, I'm not there to start a war. I'm there to diffuse whatever there is so that people have a way to see each other as the other person instead of collaborating with the enemy.
True. That's very, very, it, it's very powerful in
Hmm.
a sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I think for the last years of history, and I'm talking about
Yeah.
the past 6, 10 years,
Hmm.
we have been
Yeah.
polarized so much. And I think the
Hmm.
more and the more we are going to rooms to have a fight, because
Yeah. Yeah.
being alive has been a fight for
Yeah. Yeah.
the
But we
past.
need each other. We need
Well, we
each other in the workplace,
and
different people from
not
different
everyone is on the
countries.
other side
No,
of the fight. So you
no.
need the space to find who is with who in that
Yeah.
sense too. Can you share with us some good cases about
Hmm.
the results of inclusive workspace, and in the sense of wellness or strategy, whether
Hmm.
whether it's about race, gender, neurodivergence, or
Hmm.
other types of diversity?
I can make it, I can share something that taps into different layers, right? So one of the things, and maybe you would not expect it, but I'm very sensitive to the space where I facilitate or where I provide my training as well. If the space isn't open, where sunlight is coming in, or where fresh air is coming in, or I at least see some green, and there is also another additional space for people to decompress, those are my favorite spaces. And the spaces that what I see now is a lot of companies are investing, not that many, but some companies are investing in neuro-inclusive workplaces where there is this dynamic that does something to the brain as well for you to see sunlight. Because I've been in spaces where people don't see any sunlight or have any fresh air, and at the end of the day their battery is empty, really empty, and it affects their way of collaboration, it affects the way of them engaging with other people. And if you're cranky, you are not engaging with somebody else. Last Sunday, I went to a TEDx event, and I love this title, so I'm going to amplify it well. The way you love is the way you lead. So if, for instance, your battery is very low and there is little love there, guess what? How will you be leading when you are a leader or when you are collaborating with other people? You will lead with that same energy and are not effective in the way that you are leading as well.
Yeah, it is it is an interesting topic, because throughout our educational system
Hmm.
hasn't changed. So we're
Yeah,
still taking our little kids, which are
yeah,
completely different in 2026 than they were in the 1800s. We're still taking them to a class where they hear to a teacher, poor teacher who in the most of the cases is
Yeah.
in a very precarious situation, so the teacher can't update itself,
Yeah.
or him or herself. The kids have different challenges, they're going through different things, the school doesn't change the system, and
No.
then we take that to our workspace, right?
Yeah.
What we're
Yeah.
doing is we are repeating. So what I hear so much about this from some friends, they're like, oh great, I have to go to the office so I can stay on a computer and have online meetings inside my office. It
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
same, it's the same logic that some people end up bringing to a collaborative session when we should actually change the whole complexity of how we are collaborating. What are the spaces?
Exactly.
Exactly. And
Exactly.
what are the spaces? Are the spaces, well, actually sheltering the neurodivergent people in
Mm-hmm.
the role? Is it actually answering for our needs? Because there's something interesting also about inclusion. Maybe you don't have someone who's handicapped on your team
Yeah.
now, but
Yeah.
then someone falls on the stairs and they need
Mm-hmm.
to be on a wheelchair for a month, and then
Yeah.
this person is going to find out about how difficult it is to be handicapped.
This happened to me. This literally happened to me when before my bike accident, I thought that the Netherlands was really accessible for everybody, but the moment that you have a disability challenge, the moment that the escalator isn't working or the elevator isn't working, I'm not gonna climb those 100 steps because it will take a lot of energy out of me to do that. And by the time that I reach that mountaintop, you are already gone to somewhere else. So you have to pick and choose. And those are the challenges that sometimes people are facing when they are neurodivergent or they have a hidden disability or a visible disability, that oftentimes we design with those who are able-bodied and not asking feedback for those who want to be involved but are not involved in the process or in the workplace as well.
And that's exactly what I said previously, because when you
Yeah.
make it good for everyone, it's actually good for
Yes,
everyone.
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not going
Yeah.
to be excludent to a certain
Exactly.
group. It is going to be good for everyone because originally
Exactly.
it hasn't. And then when you put
Exactly.
everyone in a room to collaborate,
Mhm.
how is everyone going to collaborate when one or two people in the room are
Yeah.
not feeling well, are not feeling that they
Yeah.
were taken care of, which is a very
Yeah.
important thing when designing experiences and facilitating sessions.
Exactly. Exactly. People think that facilitating is just, a few tricks that a facilitator does, but having the connaissance of what's the space and playing around with the space. And if the space doesn't provide an energy, then that means that energy has to come from the facilitator as well. So those are the things that I keep in mind so that I keep the energy up, even though the space isn't the ideal space for me to engage as well. I try to keep the energy up so that people still get the best of me and of the session as well.
I put my finger even on the food that the group is going to eat, because that affects how
Exactly.
they are going to be when they come back from lunch, or how
Exactly.
they're
Food is
going.
an important element.
I've
Yes.
had,
Yes.
I've had problems with like room temperature, for
Yeah.
example,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where the room got too warm and then
Yeah.
the AC wasn't able to get chiller again. And
Yeah.
no one, people get very cranky when it's too cold, but they get
Yeah.
very cranky when it's too
Yeah.
hot, like when it's very
The way
hot.
you love is the way you lead. That's the same
Exactly.
thing.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
have some
Yeah.
comments. I have some comments here.
Ooh.
The first one is from
Hi,
Danielle.
Daniela.
She's saying that the environment is so important. It affects so
Yeah.
much. It does. It
Yeah.
affects the mood. And she said that when she facilitates, she's also very sensitive. Always
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
lovely to listen to. Maravilhosa, Vivian.
Yeah. Thank you, Daniela. Thank you.
Yes. And then Sarah shared with us
Mhm.
that food brings her back to her childhood. It is a
Thanks,
good way.
Sarah, for sharing. Yeah, food is a way to connect. So, for those of you, if you haven't attended a session of mine, I make sure that the client who's hiring me has something, because you cannot attend my session without any snacks or food, because otherwise you'll be hangry, and I don't want to be responsible for you to be hangry, right? So I want to
Hungry.
make sure that food is the last thing that you have to think about, so that we can engage and we can facilitate the best way that I can do that.
So in extreme situations, I'll tell you, I bring the food.
Hmm.
I bring at least a chocolate because no
Yeah,
one can
yeah,
be mad when they get a
yeah,
chocolate. So
yeah.
depending, because facilitation is also a skill. It's a role as a facilitator. Sometimes you're in a very bad situation
Yeah,
where
true,
they
true.
don't only not provide food, or they put you in a very bad room because that's what they could pay or that's what they have,
Hmm. Yeah.
or they aren't able to provide with the proper catering and everything. But yeah,
True, true. I've been in situations where I brought a little snack for people to embrace, but the best thing is that the client pays for it because they have a
I'll
bigger budget.
Yes, yes. So I have a message here from Deborah about it's two
Mm,
messages. So
yeah.
I want you to learn about to think of what you say. So she says she gets a
Hmm.
rash when she hears about positive discrimination initiatives, and then she sent a
Hmm.
second message, and she's like, it's like we haven't moved it forward.
We have not. We have not. No, we have not. Maybe to clarify this a little bit is, we have made some steps forward, but every time that we are making a few steps forward, we are also sometimes going a few steps back, right? So to demystify what happened just before Corona, the line of women being placed in leadership positions was really good, and every year it got better and better and better. But during Corona, each year, less women were placed in leadership positions as well, and it's even worse. I don't have the statistics in mind, but I often refer to the Lean In and McKinsey study that they are doing every year, so that you can see the advancement or the disadvancement of the
Mhm.
challenges that women are facing as well. And also, what you shared in the beginning of my story, it's not every parent that is facing something, but now in the Netherlands, even fathers used to have, or they are debating of deactivating maternal leave for parents, for the other parents, so those who are not pregnant person. So oftentimes it's the father or the other partner. They want to deactivate that. So Deborah, when you say that there are some positive movement and you get a rash, and it seems like we are not moving forward, but sometimes the legislation or sometimes the organization is deactivating all those movements. Look at all the layoffs that have been happening right now. In the afternoon on my page, I will share a summary of the conversation that I had last week with Mary Jane about humanizing layoffs. I understand that companies need to let go of people, but the way we do that is a deal breaker or a deal maker.
Very, I mean, it's we for me it's very clear.
Yeah.
Maybe we started speaking about how the world sees it as the northern part of
Mm-hmm.
Europe as someone that has figured this out, the
Yeah.
gender thing. But the way we
Mm-hmm.
see it, for example, as a Brazilian and being a migrant in Europe,
Mm-hmm.
um, it is one step forward and five steps back. And
Yeah.
it's not a given.
Yeah.
Yesterday, not yesterday, on Sunday, on International Women's Day, there are so many
Mm-hmm.
maps shared online about, I saw this great map about when European countries allowed women to vote. And you would
Yeah.
be surprised because some people look
Yeah.
at
It's
Europe.
not that long ago.
No, it's not that long ago. So we just
Mm-hmm.
started. And
Yeah.
as I said, it's not a given. We're now fighting with other types of gender. And I'm only talking about gender. I'm not even going to go into the race part of it or
Mm-hmm.
other types of discrimination. But we just started. And as it's not a given, because we are
Yeah.
not there in the management positions and secure positions, because we just started. Like yesterday, we started being CEOs. Yesterday, we started being managers. Because before yesterday, we just started voting. we cannot relax. And I know it's
Yeah.
stressful. It generates me a lot of anxiety, for example, because we do think, and we see that on our work. I see that when I
Mm-hmm.
design sessions in different countries of how they are evolving. The discussions that are happening in the room are showing me that yes, are we advanced, but we are going back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the reasons why civil society organizations, NGO, impact organizations are always talking about the same subject is because it's not given. We are
Yeah.
not there.
Yeah.
We're not even close to getting there. We have so many years to pop by, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, Sarah is saying, well, Deborah said chocolates can save a situation.
Definitely.
Definitely.
Good chocolate though. Good
Yes,
chocolate.
Sarah said very powerful. We do
Thank you,
need each
Sarah.
other.
Thank
And
you.
Lenny, there you go. UN
Yeah.
Gutierrez told the UN
Yeah.
told in
Yeah.
2023 that we are 300 years behind gender equality. 300 years.
And
So
and
that's
she is right. It's even worse now with the current state of the world where I'm not gonna say that we're some men, right? It's not all men, but some men are dictating at the moment right now, which is not helpful and not being empathetic about everybody in this situation as well. So it's not me blaming and putting the finger on men, but I do see that when you surround yourself with people who look like you, who talk like you, who act like you're not creating space for you to reap the benefit and create a competitive advantage that diversity and inclusion can bring.
Sarah also said inclusivity crosses all types of diversity. It is for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly what you just said, right?
Yeah,
Sarah contributed saying her neurodivergence hates working. Everyone hates, not only neurodivergent people. The thing
that
is,
part.
we have learned, because we have been domesticated, and I love this
Hmm.
word because
Yeah.
we've been going through this through our school year. You know, when I come to
Hmm.
think about that, you spend 12 years of your life in school
Mm. Hmm.
asking if you can go to the bathroom to someone else.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever thought
Yeah.
about that? How bizarre that is. That
It
you
is
grow up
bizarre.
learning. You grow up learning that you have to ask an adult to go to the
Hmm.
toilet. It is bizarre. So we haven't changed that. Of course, we take that to the university when now we are free because now you can actually go out and go in whenever you want, depending on the teacher you have.
Yeah.
But we are we take that to work because
Hmm.
we haven't been educated to be autonomous when we are
Hmm.
small to the point
Yeah.
that we can be autonomous. And that's also the reason why we don't learn to deal with the difference,
Yeah.
because we
Yeah.
have to be we are being measured and domesticated in all of this. I love that. I'm gonna make one for you in different languages. Last message here from Deborah. um, the root of the problem is that we're tribal beings and we look for belonging, and any diversity away from this sense of belonging is dismissed, if not persecuted. We
Yeah.
look for belonging. We do. We
Yeah.
look for belonging, but
Yeah.
we can find this belonging. And as a migrant, I can tell you that with, I've lived in 6 different countries in 3 different continents. We are able to gather and create amazing things. We can cook amazing soups together.
Can
With
I share something with
Yes,
the
go for it.
audience because people seem to think that we know each other, and I only met Ty after my conversation with Medi a few weeks ago, and she reached out and say, "Hey, I'm coming to Amsterdam." I don't always do that, but given the fact that she's making the effort to come to Amsterdam, I we met up at my aunt's place at Gold Coast Restaurant, and then we hit it off. And then we got into so many things that we hope in the future to collaborate together within facilitation, within effective collaboration. But besides that, she also wanted to do this conversation, and you see within a few weeks this happened. So sometimes asking that question, whether you know that person or not. We have a Dutch saying that you always can, you know that you have a no, but if you don't shoot your shot, you might get a yes. So always, always ask and always see that as well. And I'm really loving the conversation because this also talks into cultural intelligence as well, where you connect with other people, their cultures, and understand there is more to people that meets the eye. There's more to me than you see me in a square box. I have so many layers that oftentimes I don't even know what to address, but there is more to me that meets the eye.
Yes. Of course, there is way more. To begin with, Vivian is very tall. Just so you guys know. I remember, I remember when I saw I made a certification, right? I got my
Yeah.
certification as a Lego Serious Play facilitator a couple of years ago. And then the
Mhm.
first phrase that I said to my instructor was like, "Oh my God, you're so short. You're so tiny." She's like, how did you think I was tall? And I'm like, I don't know, but this is such a good vision of it. Sometimes
Mhm.
oh, we've been working online. We've been working with international teams. We
Yeah.
see people from all over the place.
Yeah.
Then when you get to see them in person, it's so much more complex than
Mhm.
this screen that we see on our Zoom or on our
Exactly.
Meet or on our Meet
Exactly.
every day. And we are not able. And I'm a big fan of course, in-person meetings. I think
Yeah.
there's nothing more
I'm
magic.
50-50. 50-50.
Really,
50-50, because sometimes there, for those who are neurodivergent, they get it. Sometimes my social battery is done.
it's done
Sometimes
for
my
the
social battery is done. Here in the Netherlands, everybody wants to touch you, wants to see you, wants to be physical. And I have a 50-50. I love, connecting with people, but there is a time and a place. And after 2 or 3 hours, my battery is up and I need to do an Irish goodbye. So sometimes I will not say
Oh,
goodbye.
you call it Irish goodbye. We call
They
it
say
French.
it's an Iris goodbye, just disappearing. You've seen her and now she's gone.
Call it exit French way. I don't know why we
Mm,
got it French, but you guys got it Irish.
okay.
You see, if you don't have the opportunity to be talking, to be chit
Yeah,
chatting about stuff,
yeah,
we wouldn't even understand that we have the same terms, but with
yeah.
different nationalities. And I think that's the
Yeah.
that is the point we get, and we can actually cook amazing foods
Mhm.
when we are able
Oh,
to bring a
definitely.
room to allow everyone in the room to put their spice into it. That
Yes,
means to put their
yes.
voice into it, to put their
Yeah,
ideas into whatever
yeah.
guided session,
Mhm,
whatever guided section you're having. So
mhm.
the role of the facilitator in that sense is to have that safety, or that psychological safety, where everyone feels that they can take the little bag of spice, because it's little,
Yeah,
because we are full of the little bag of spice, and contribute to the soup,
yeah.
or to this barbecue, or to this conversation, whatever you will be cooking.
Yeah, and
So
also to add on as well regarding psychological safety, because oftentimes people forget that facilitation is also including the opinions of other people, right? So oftentimes what I do in the beginning is co-create a recipe for the rules of engagement. I bring in a set of rules, and if anyone within the room feels like there is something missing from my set of rules, add it in. Let's make that dish of psychological safety even better, so that everybody feels that it's about them and it's for them as well.
I do agreements, but I also have extreme non-agreements. For example,
Mm,
about
yeah.
I don't lecture. I hate
Yeah.
lecturing. So every
Yeah, me
activity that
too.
invite me to lecture, I hack
Yeah.
it in a way where I have an activity, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
I make people do stuff, because that's what I
Mhm.
do. People pay me to put them to work, and I love it. I think that's like, it's like
Don't say that. Don't say that.
something out loud, right? So I put people to work. And then one of the normally on my lectures, and I'll people will eventually get into a circle, because that's
Mhm.
so everyone can look at everyone. I have this rule where please interrupt me when you have a question or something. Do not raise your hand. I hate that. We are having a
Mm,
dialogue and we are able to
mhm.
look at each other's face to see when someone is going to speak or not. So that's a practice,
Yeah,
right? Not
yeah.
everyone can deal with that because then it becomes disturbing for some people.
Mhm.
But then you see
Yeah,
people in the room self-regulating, not
mhm.
to. So you see
Yeah,
some hands like,
yeah, yeah,
and then someone else already looks at them and they're like, no, you're not supposed to be raising your hand.
yeah,
Just speak. You know,
yeah.
when we're at the bar, and sometimes, well, when I am at the bar, at least. So when you're at the bar with your friends, and there's
Mhm.
like 10 people around the table, no one's raising a hand. You guys are able to
Yeah,
have a conversation. Sometimes, you talk a lot, you scream, especially as South Americans, but um, you are able to regulate that. And that's a
mhm.
dialogue. And you can do
Yeah,
that in facilitation. Not every
true.
facilitator can do that because then sometimes you're building something on your head and then people disrupt that and you're not
Yeah.
able to continue. That's not my
Every
case.
facilitator has their own style. Every facilitator has their own style, and it's all about aligning people, helping them move the needle with whatever challenge that they are facing. So I also see a diversity in facilitation styles.
Approach, in,
Yeah.
in the facilitation approach. So
Yeah.
we're already past our 10 minutes or our planned session. We talk a lot. We
Yeah.
talked a lot when we met, and we
I
will be talking
loved it.
for
I
hours
loved
if
it. Yeah.
even didn't have to
Loved
go.
every minute of it.
Yes, so just the last messages here. Sarah
Oh,
said,
thank you,
you're both
Sarah.
so engaging. It's lovely to watch. Thank you, everyone who's online. Deborah said she plays a game called Collecting Notes, bringing the fun into
Mm.
life.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I love you. Love your comments,
Thank
Deborah.
you.
And I don't know. So Sarah said
I
it's
think
so
it has to do with me not going to or not being present or doing things more online than offline. Yes. Inclusive, it means also I'm not for everybody, and I accept that. I accept that
exactly,
part as
exactly.
well.
Like our mothers told us, you're not everybody. And if you
Yeah,
guys didn't grow
yeah,
with mothers like that, I'm sorry for you, but
yeah, yeah.
it teaches you your character.
Mm.
And the last message is Sarah is saying she's also in the Netherlands, so maybe you guys should
I
meet.
say,
So
Sarah, reach out, and let's connect and continue the conversation. Yes.
So, Vivian, thank you very much.
Thank you,
I think
Ty.
you guys, if you guys want to reach out for Vivian, please reach her out on LinkedIn, Vivian
Mhm.
Aqua. This
Yeah.
beautiful last name of hers, this beautiful, like, wow, this is so cool. It's like you're like so tall, so colorful, and your last name is Aqua.
Oh,
It feels like
thank you. Thank you. I mean, you're a hype woman already. I appreciate the way that you approach me, but also who you are, what you stand for, and the fact that you're doing these sessions. It's amazing. For those of you who don't know Ty, reach out and connect with Ty as well because she is a dynamic. Putting the two of us together will be fun
it would
as
be,
well. For
it would
those
be
of you
fun.
who are looking
Yeah,
for engaging people, putting the two of us together. We'll see.
please do. Let us out. Thank you, Vivian. You have an amazing rest of the week. Thank you very much. An amazing rest of the winter.
Yes, 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 yes. Rub it in, will you?
Bye. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye, everybody.